recipe, which I will post my recipe in the description box if you would like to make this along with me, because I'm not very good at these things in general. So I'm getting flour already all over the countertop. But first things first is you need warm water for your yeast to activate. I'm gonna actually open up my recipe book and make sure that I follow this correctly. I didn't write it in my new recipe book. My sister just got me this really cute one. I didn't write it in here yet because all that's in here is desserts right now, and I don't know how I want to set up the rest of it. So all the desserts are in the back, but I do have it here. Okay, so we need 2 cups of warm water that is between 105 degrees to 115. First, I'm going to get 2 cups of water, pop it in here. Then we're going to put sugar in. I don't know any of the mechanics of what sugar and yeast do together, but I do add quite a bit of sugar. I like a sweet bread. So we're going to add a 1/4 cup plus a little more of sugar to this warm water, and then we're going to mix it in. I'm just going to use a spoon. Try to dissolve some of that sugar. Okay, and then you want 1 packet of active dry yeast, and I'm just going to sprinkle it in. Try to get it all out, and then we're going to let this sit and foam for about 10 minutes, maybe a little less. I'll check on it. It's already starting to foam. But if your yeast doesn't foam in your warm water and get like puffy, then that means that your yeast is probably not good. So make sure you check the date on your yeast. Kind of look like, maybe pretty close to it, but I would say it's ready for us to continue on. You saw our foamy bowl. We're going to continue on, and then we're going to actually, now is the time to turn your oven on turn on the oven light. You need to turn on the oven light because that's how, at least me, that's how I'm going to proof my dough. I used to put it right next to the wood stove, but I always felt like it started to like cook the dough on the outside a little because it got too warm, too fast. So I put it in the oven with the oven light on, and I draped like a thin tea towel over it, or like a thin like washcloth, wash rag, over my dough, and then I let that sit and rise for about an hour. It should about double in size, but we'll get there when we get there. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm not going to measure. I pulled out my measuring spoons. They're really cute. They're from whenever we went to Alaska. They're adorable, but I'm not using them because I'm not worried about it. So I'm just going to go for it. But normally it would be 2 tablespoons. About 2 tablespoons, I would say. And then we are going to add some salt, and then we're going to start with the flour. So I'm going to take a pretty big pinch of salt. It's 2 teaspoons if you are following the recipe. Then we're going to go in with our flour. We need like 4 to 5.5 cups, depending on how sticky your dough is. I don't know what changes that. I'm guessing the temperature and the climate you live in, but normally I need about 5, like right in the middle. 4 to 5.5. But I use all-purpose flour. I don't use bread flour because bread flour is more expensive. That's it. I'm going to take a fork because I'm going to use a fork to whisk in the dough. I could use my handy dandy KitchenAid, but I don't like the way that my dough hook mixes. I just don't like the way it does it. So I like to do it by hand. I have fun doing it by hand. I become a mess. I normally wear an apron, but I like my jammies, so I'm wearing my jammies today. But I need a big fork. I have a big fork. You're just gonna learn the whole layout of my house in case you come visit. you'll know where everything is in the kitchen. You can make yourself right at home. And dry out this measuring cup because it's not quite dry yet. And I'm gonna do 2 cups first and then start mixing. Make sure your countertop's clean. I normally clean mine with vinegar, so it's food safe. It's a food safe cleaner, I guess. There's a 3rd cup, but you want to make sure your countertop's clean so that you can knead your dough whenever you're done. I love kneading my dough. That's my favorite part of bread making. There's just something fun about it. I enjoy it. All right, what can we get out of here? Can I get a 4th cup? A whole 4th cup? Oh man, look at me making a mess. We have about a 4th and a 1/4. We're gonna go with that. And then I'm just gonna keep mixing. Just to refill, I like having things in plastic containers because we live in the woods. So we have mice. It's unfortunate. And I'm gonna use the rest of that bag on the countertop. So let's move you out of the way, my friend. Oh, let's dump this out. And then we are going to dump the dough. I'm gonna scrape out everything else that's in here. That's a terrible noise. I do get very sensitive to sounds. Chewing. Whenever my husband sharpens our knives, I hate that sound. I have to leave the room. It makes me go crazy. Very repetitive sound. So like we have to let our water drip whenever it's cold, which obviously it's very cold. You saw there was snow. So we have to constantly run the water whenever it's really cold outside. It's 28 degrees. So whenever it's below freezing, let the water drip. Drives me crazy. I think I'm gonna call that good. Whenever you press it down, it should pop back out. It's still a little ugly, but as it proofs, as it rises, it'll be better. I probably did use about 5.5 cups of flour, I would say. And then next we're gonna take the same bowl that it was in before because I'm not washing a bunch of dishes. We're gonna put oil in it. And then I'm gonna take a paper towel. Actually, I'm gonna take my hand because it doesn't matter. I'm gonna try to roll that oil around a little. Take my hand, rub it around the side of the bowl. And then I'm gonna take my dough, put it in here, pop it in the bowl. I'm gonna spin it around. I'm gonna get it coated in oil. It's gonna look ugly, doesn't matter. And then I'm going to take a towel, cover it, and put it in the oven with the oven light on for about an hour. Maybe a little longer, we'll see. But you see it now. It's, I don't know, takes up about half of my bowl, not quite. It'll be risen, hopefully, if God allows. And we will take it out, punch it down, and then we will put it in our bread pans. So, for now we're done. Wait about an hour, do what you need to do. I gotta go do laundry, so I'm gonna go do that while I'm waiting on my dough to rise. are going nuts. So anyway, I left flour, left in a mess because I'm going to reuse it. I have a new tin pan that I got to use for the first time. It was very nice. And then I have a Pampered Chef bread pan, and I love that one. Nothing ever sticks to it. I'm just greasing the pan with the same canola oil that I used in the bowl. You got to get the corners really good, so make sure you do that. And then we're going to punch the dough and then make it into some nice loaves. Okay, punch your dough. Fold it back in on itself. And then we're going to take it out. And like I said, I'm not going to split it directly in half, but pretty close, because I want a bigger loaf for the one and a smaller loaf for the other. So I'm going to, it's like an ugly ball right now. I'm going to tuck the folded sides underneath and spread it out a little. Same with this one. I'm going to try to get it into a log shape and then roll the fold underneath. And it doesn't look perfect, but once again it has to proof again. So we're going to put this big one in the Pampered Chef pan. That's ugly. I'm going to do that again. Let's try it again. Let's do one more foldy roll. There we go. Alright, it's a little better. We're going to pop that in the pan. Spread it out a little more. Try to take up more of the pan, make it a little more even in there. And then this one's going to go in here. So that's pretty much it for the proofing. We have to put it back in the oven again. Proof it again. Let it rise. Great big. We will see how they turn out. I will try to get footage of them before I bake them. But this one's going to be like a big bread loaf, and I'm going to make this one like a snacking loaf for like cheese and bread and, I don't know, ham, I guess, like a charcuterie bread maybe, just because it's smaller. That's about it. But whenever we are done with the proofing, then we take it back out, preheat the oven, and then pop them in for about 30-35 minutes. So we'll get there when we get there. But now you can clean your countertop, you can clean your surfaces, because we're done putting things on the counter. So I'm going to cover these up and put them in the oven. And let's get to cleaning. I didn't do a very good job explaining this, so here I am now trying to. The dough has proofed. I'm going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and then I'm going to cover these back up with the towel, leave them on the counter while the oven preheats, then put them in the oven whenever it's done preheating for 30 to 35 minutes until the top is golden brown. And the top will kind of get crispy, and then I spread butter on the top. So you'll see that. It sounds hard and crusty. We're going to add salt to the butter, because I don't buy salted butter, but if you have salted butter, don't add salt to it. Okay, go. We're going to mix this up with the basting brush, get the salt in there, and then you're just going to brush your bread with it. And then you're really done. I do a lot. I make sure it's really coated. It also, I feel like, helps the bread get out of the pan. I'm going to let it cool in the pan about halfway, so probably about, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, I guess less than halfway. But about 15-20 minutes, I'm going to let that sit in there. And then I will take it out of the pan, because you don't want it to completely cool in the pan. I feel like it creates condensation on the inside of the pan, and the sides of your bread get wet. Look at this one. Now that's our bread loaf, and that's our snack loaf. So this is what we're going to eat. Maybe you can hear this one better. Sounds good. Anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Bye.